Hello again, boys and girls. I am creating an additional video for this week's assignment, Energy and Temperature Activity Worksheet. I want to go over the questions a little bit more in depth, especially for those who did not get an opportunity to attend the live meet sessions that were provided on Tuesday at 12 and Thursday at 9. So in the first section of this assignment, you are going to put in your last name and your first name. The second section focuses in on the scientific method. There is a short video that will review these concepts of the scientific method and the steps that are required to conducting an experiment. Once you have watched this video, you will see a series of multiple choice questions that focuses on the scientific method. The first question is, anything that can change in an experiment is called a what? The scientific method is blank. The first step in the scientific method is a possible answer to a question or problem, also called an educated guess, is the information you record in an experiment is called your. Which of the following is an observation of the picture? And which of the following is not a testable question? Remember, a testable question is something that focuses on a cause and an effect. It also includes an independent variable and a dependent variable. The third section of this assignment focuses on the experimental design. The purpose of this assignment is to design an experiment that another student could follow and use to test whether land or water heats faster. This will be important information whenever you get to the question section. You will think about what type of experiment to set up. Remember, you are not completing the experiment, only designing it. Use these guided questions to help you design the experiment, and be sure to answer each question in complete sentences. Your goal for this assignment is to become a skilled scientist. So using this rubric, you want to aim for 5 points. The students have thoroughly answered all guided questions to show critical thinking skills. Section 4 focuses on the background information and materials. This is where all of your information to create and design your experiment will come from. So take a look at this information above. Solar radiation warms both land surfaces and water on our planet. Land surfaces absorb much more solar radiation than water. This is due to the fact that most land surfaces are darker than water, which of course means more absorption of solar radiation and heat. Water reflects most solar radiation that reaches its surfaces back to the atmosphere. Since land absorbs more solar radiation, the land surface retains more heat, as do the vegetation for energy. Thus, land surfaces warm more quickly than water. Remember, you are not conducting the experiment, you are simply setting up the design for the experiment. So here is a list of materials that would be available for this experiment. You have 500 milliliters of sand, 500 milliliters of water, 1 heat lamp, 2 thermometers, 2,000 milliliter beakers, 2 clothespins or clamps, 1 metric ruler, and 1 timer. Again, you are using the background information above to answer the short answer response questions below. So what is the purpose of this lab? Remember to use the information above. What hypothesis will the experiment test? So think about the point that was listed above. What could be considered a testable experiment? Remember that hypotheses are always written in an if or then statement. If both the sand and water are placed under a heat lamp, then blank will absorb more solar radiation. What are the independent variables? Remember, the independent variable is the only thing that actually changes in the material setup. So what is different about the materials? The dependent variable is what you measure. This can be determined based on the materials that are listed above. What is a product that we can measure using the materials above? What purpose would the sand serve globally? Think about our globe and what the sand could represent. In addition, what would the water represent in our globe? What purpose would the lamp serve? What purpose would the thermometer serve? And how can you use these materials to test whether land or water heats faster? How would you compare whether land or water heats faster using these materials? And within a 1 hour period, at what 5 points should the temperature be taken? Why? And what are the time increments that you are going to use? Keep in mind you will need an initial temperature check prior to starting the timer. So this would be at your 0-minute time. What would an effective conclusion need to include? This information can come from the lessons and your scientific method video. Part 2 is where you will design a lab report. Again, using the background information above and the materials that are listed right here. You are going to take these 9 steps and order them from first to last for steps 1 through 9. The last part of this assignment is matching up the data analysis. Remember, you are not completing the experiment. You are simply setting up the experimental design. So, using the key terms that are listed on the left side, we need to match those terms up on our data table. Based on this information, we know that we are going to compare the sand and water temperatures. So we need to have time intervals, including our initial time interval, in one column, while the temperatures of sand and water will be in another column. For example, timer will go in the first spot or the first column. If I know that timer is going to go in the first column, then that tells me that all of my times will continue to go in the first column as well. Column 2 and 3, we said would use temperature checks. So what information could I put as my headers for temperatures? Once you have completed this, be sure to send yourself a response. All right, boys and girls, good luck. And if you have any questions, send me a message on Google Hangouts.